Hello, this is Caleb Barney with Russell Real Estate, and today I'm going to read an article that I actually just posted. So, as you can see, 0 views. I literally just posted this through my CRM. So, a lot of my existing clients will automatically get these on their email search alerts. You could also go to my website, Caleb Barney at calebbarney.russellrealty.com for all of my blog articles. But I figured, you know what? There's a lot of videos that I shoot reviewing other people's articles. Why don't I go over one that I just edited as well? So this one is called "Maximizing Your Home Sale Price: Proven Strategies for Selling at Top Dollar." So basically, what I want everybody to know is that selling your home for top dollar isn't just about luck. There is a strategic process that involves careful planning, preparation, and execution. Some of this, by the way, you know, obviously we're going to take into our own hands because basically a home will sell at the proper price depending on its location, its condition, and its marketing. So if you're missing one of those three key factors, so say it's in, say you remodeled or flipped this house, but it is in the worst neighborhood with really high crime rates and really low, school ratings, everything like that. It doesn't matter if you market it well and if you made the condition of the property excellent. If it's in a bad area, it's not going to sell for top dollar. Same thing, so that was the area. For the condition, maybe you are in the hottest area, say it's Ohio City, Tremont. If you want to go to a rural area, maybe you're in Highland schools or Revere schools, something like that, where there's a lot of appeal, whether it's proximity to downtown or whether it's having your own 2 acre lot and having excellent school systems, whatever the case may be. Maybe you have an amazing location and you are marketing it well, once again, but the condition of the property is terrible. It needs to be gutted. At that point, same thing, you're not going to get top dollar. And then lastly, say, and this is where, we can't change location. That is what it is. You, as the homeowner and the seller, can change the condition of the property, but you need to do so intelligently, where you're not always going to get a 1-for-1 or more than 1-for-1 return on your investment. You have to be careful there. And then the last one is the marketing. And if you're hiring a real estate professional, so a realtor, a real estate agent, that's what my job is. It's to sell your home. And it's one thing to be a salesperson. I try not to think of myself as a salesperson like forcing something down somebody's throat, but part of sales is marketing and getting it in front of as many eyes as possible. So I'll go over some of the strategies here, but basically you could have an amazing property, condition wise, in the best spot possible. And if you are not marketing that property correctly, it's not going to get enough eyes on it, and somebody's going to get it for a steal. You're not going to sell it for as much as you possibly can if the marketing is incorrect. So we'll go over some of these strategies here, as I have 10 tips here that can significantly impact your home's selling price. So the first one is enhancing the curb appeal. First impressions matter. There's no doubt about it. And you need to boost your home's curb appeal by maintaining a well-manicured lawn. You could add stone or mulch. You could trim bushes, freshen up the exterior with a coat of paint if needed, and add inviting touches such as potted plants or even a welcoming doormat. Because whenever I'm entering a property into the MLS, which is the multiple listing services, and that gets distributed to sites like Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com, Homes.com, stuff like that, I have to put the front of your home as the very first picture. So if you remodeled the entire inside, but the curb appeal looks like trash, somebody's going to see, oh my gosh, $500,000 for that property, and they're not even going to click on the photos to see how amazing the inside is if the curb appeal is not attractive enough for them to click on our listing. So we need you to enhance the curb appeal. Next is decluttering and depersonalizing. So basically, we're going to want you to clear out any excess clutter and personal items. So this doesn't mean it's going to be an empty house or anything. In fact, a staged house, which we'll get to here in a little bit, it does sell for more and usually more quickly as well. But we want a buyer to envision themselves living in that space. So that means neutralizing decor, so not having anything that's going to turn off a lot of buyers. We want something that is pretty neutral for the most part. It needs to be clean and it needs to appear spacious for them to see the potential. But again, not clearing out everything. We want you to have, say, a sectional or a couch somewhere with an end table, or here's your king size bed, here's your queen size bed, whatever it is in the bedrooms. Because sometimes if it's just an empty room, people will actually have a hard time visualizing if their stuff can even fit there. So not only that, but we do want a decluttered home because it does show better in photographs, making the room seem larger. So if you have a bunch of boxes in this, 13 by 14 bedroom, it's actually not a bad size bedroom, but you can't tell in photos with our wide angle lens and the professional photography that we use, because people aren't going to be able to see through the stuff. They're just going to see clutter. So that's why we need everything to be decluttered as much as possible. And then I always say, make sure you clean the home. You don't want people feeling like they need to get the hand sanitizer as soon as they leave your house. You don't want them feeling icky or dirty when they leave your house, because that's not going to feel like home to them. If they can look past that, they're probably going to write a lower offer, just because they're like, I'm going to have to, pay a professional cleaner. I'm going to have to repaint everything. I'm going to have to wipe down all the walls, do everything. Some people do that anyways, but other people, they don't think about it unless it's a very, dirty home. So make sure that it's decluttered, depersonalized, and clean. The next step is to invest in some small upgrades. By the way, I put this out of order. This should be higher. This should be before decluttering and depersonalizing. So I apologize about that. But basically, focus on cost-effective improvements that add value. Again, I'm not going to tell you to do a $50,000 kitchen remodel, a $20,000 bathroom remodel, because you're not going to get a one-for-one trade-off there. Even replacing your roof, replacing a furnace, air conditioner, stuff like that, you're going to pay a pretty penny for that. And unfortunately, those are things that don't, yes, the kitchen and bathroom add value, but not in a one-for-one basis. And, things like mechanicals, hot water tank, electric panel, furnace, air conditioning, that stuff, the buyers are expecting that to be in the home already, and they're expecting it to work. So just because you paid $10K for a new HVAC system doesn't mean that you're getting an extra $10K when you go to sell your house. So you want to focus on cost-effective improvements. My favorite things are DIY stuff where you don't have to pay an electrician, a plumber, a painter, anything like that. If you're good at painting, I would say do a fresh paint update, because it's just going to show that much better. If you're bad at painting, hire that out, because a bad paint job just looks terrible. Updating light fixtures or plumbing fixtures, these might be a couple $100 sometimes, but if you could fix those and you're getting rid of your 30-year-old light fixture or a plumbing fixture that looks like it's leaking or it's nasty, those would be that would be money well spent. Changing out cabinet hardware, so your kitchen cabinet, same thing. You're not going to redo your entire kitchen, but if you just want to get some new hardware, that might make it shine a little bit or a little better. And then some minor kitchen or bathroom upgrades, so stuff like in the kitchen, if you want to do like a tile backsplash or something, that would be helpful. Where again, you're not breaking the bank, but it could add a little wow factor. After this, setting the right price. So talk with your real estate agent. They should be running comps, is what we call it. So a comparative market analysis where they can actually gauge, okay, here's the market trends, here's what we're looking at, here are the closest comparable sales, because that is something that, unless it's a cash deal, your property, even if your agent does an amazing job and you're able to get an offer for $30,000 over asking, well, if it doesn't appraise, it doesn't really matter unless the buyer is willing to make up the difference. So that's where you need to have basically a realistic price that's competitive, and you don't want to overprice a home because you're looking kind of for a needle in the haystack buyer. So you're looking for a perfect buyer there, and they may or may not be looking. Especially when I'm recording this, it's December 4th. We just had Thanksgiving, Christmas and New Year's is coming up. There's likely a smaller buyer pool. So if that potential buyer that it would be the perfect house for, and they would be willing to pay your price for it, well, if they're not looking right now and maybe they're looking a month from now, are you willing to drop the price to get your stale listing back in front of them? Because they may only be on a drip where basically they're getting emailed listings as they come out new, or as there are price changes, whether it's price increase, price decrease. But if your home is just sitting there for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks in today's market, it becomes a stale listing. It's basically at the bottom of everybody's list. If they see it at all, they wonder what's wrong with this house. Why hasn't it sold? Because everything still does move relatively quickly here in Northeast Ohio in December of 2023. So that's why we don't want to overprice, because then we're going to be chasing the market down when we're doing our price decreases, while people are still wondering, buyers are still wondering what's wrong with the house. Meanwhile, if you underprice a house, you could actually leave money on the table. Again, it depends on the season. Right now, excuse me, there are fewer buyers out there. So if you price a home, say it's a home worth $250,000 and you price it at $225,000, there might only be a handful of buyers that are looking just for that, and maybe you're only getting one offer there. Whereas, and if you are only getting one offer, then they're not going to drive the price up. They're just going to give you at asking. But if you underprice a home in the middle of summer, when many people are looking, maybe that's when you get into a bidding war. And that could be the right strategy then. But it depends on the time of the year. It depends on the market, if it's a buyer's market, a seller's market. It depends on how quickly you want to sell the house. And it depends on if your goal is to truly maximize the price, or if you're just trying to have as little stress as possible. Because oftentimes those two things conflict, where, if you're trying to squeeze out every last dollar, you might be feeling the pressure a little more, as opposed to, okay, if we get 230 instead of 235K, is that okay with you? Are you going to lose sleep? Is it going to be the end of the world for you? So those are only questions that you can answer. For the fifth step is professional photography and staging. So I always hire a professional photographer to take high quality, professionally taken photos that basically are going to showcase your home's best features. In our MLS, we're allowed to put up to 35 photos into that portal, basically, and I try to utilize all 35. Now, if there's going to be, maybe there's only 30 great photos or good to great photos, and we have 5 open slots, I'd rather leave those slots open as opposed to putting in five uh, mediocre to bad photos that are going to detract from our listing. So, yes, we can have up to 35 photos. Oftentimes, I do try to max that out. But if we can't, and I feel like, hey, what are we really showcasing in this photo? And I can't come up with a legitimate answer, then maybe I'll just skip that portion. But we want the professional photography for sure. And again, it depends on staging. Okay, are you still living in the house or not? If you are, then staging becomes extremely difficult. But that's where that declutter and depersonalize up on step 2 will really help. And we could still rearrange certain things to make the flow a little more natural. If it's if it's something that you have set up basically just because it's personal preference, but it's not what most people would want. For number 6, market strategically. Your real estate agent should be leveraging both traditional and digital marketing strategies. Utilize online platforms, social media, targeted advertising to reach a broader audience of potential buyers. So this is something that I do. So I do retarget people. So basically, anybody who has typed in that they're looking to buy a home in our area, they will automatically start seeing some of my advertisements. We also have targeted advertising within a geographic location, even if they haven't typed in that they are looking to buy a home in that area previously. So if they're in that area, then we can also do that. Social media, obviously, I put it on my own social media. I put it in different Facebook groups, different real estate groups, home buying, home selling groups, stuff like that. And then I also pay to boost those posts. So, I pay a company to retarget and to target advertise. I pay, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, so on and so forth for the social media, and then other online platforms. Everybody has an IDX feed, whether it's their own internet data exchange feed, whether it's their own website like this one here, or whether they're just putting it on the MLS and they know it's going to go to 100 different other websites like your Zillows, your Realtor.coms, Redfins, Homes.com, Trulia, stuff like that. All of those platforms will automatically get it because they're partnered with your MLS or your agent's MLS. Depending on what else, again, more so what kind of market it is, I do like to send out just listed mailers to the nearest, it depends on your neighborhood, but nearest 50 to 100 houses, because a lot of people who live there, maybe they're renting and they're looking to buy and stay in the same neighborhood. B, maybe they already own a house there and they want their friends or family members to move into the area. So that's where, I really do like to mail those out because not everybody is looking at Zillow, especially if they had no true intention to move anytime soon. So this is a way to make sure that they're aware of your house being on the market. Highlighting unique selling points is number 7. And basically what we want to do is emphasize what makes your home stand out. So whether it's a stunning view, a newly renovated kitchen, or a beautiful backyard oasis, we want to highlight these features in both your photos and in the listing description, and also in our just listed postcards and everything like that. Flexible showings and open houses. So this is for you as the home seller. We need to accommodate potential buyers' schedules by allowing flexible viewing times for them and for hosting well-organized open houses. That portion's for me. I just need to make sure that you are okay with me scheduling an open house. Basically, we want to make your home accessible and welcoming for tours. It's hard to sell a home, for me, when you're only allowing showings maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. or something like that. And trust me, I've had sellers previously where they only want to allow showings during a certain time period and it's their primary residence. So like that's where it could be a lot more challenging because people, buyers, sometimes can't get in your work schedule, and basically in the schedule that you're trying to force feed everybody to go into. And not only that, so say maybe you're doing a 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. right now, and that's it. Well, it's December in Northeast Ohio. It gets dark at like 5:15 right now, and if they're trying to walk around the outside, it's not really the best way to look at a house when it's, pitch black outside, it's cold outside, people can't see the siding, they can't see the yard, they can't see the roof, they can't see so many different things that you would want to showcase, and you really just can't if it's during odd hours or dark hours. So when being flexible for those showings and when leaving for those showings, make sure you open the blinds, you turn on all of the lights. If you have a gas fireplace, maybe you want to have the gas fireplace. You want to have some music going on. You want to, whatever the case may be, clean up, tidy up as much as possible because you want it to be very inviting for those buyers. And I do the same thing for open houses. I'll, turn on the TV with some calming music in the background. You want people to be able to envision themselves living there. Negotiating wisely, again, this is going to be primarily for your real estate agent. So ultimately, the decision is always yours. And that's what I always stress as a realtor. So when offers come in, I'll send them over to you in a PDF form. And that way you can view them as they come in. I'm not withholding anything, but we schedule a time to actually go over the offers together. And we go over everything on those offers. So people will often just want to look at the price, but we need to understand the terms, any contingencies, any pros and cons, and then be open to negotiating strategically while we keep your bottom line in mind. So we need to see, okay, who has the power basically right now? Say you have 5 offers in hand. Well, you don't have to jump at whoever makes an offer. We can go back and forth and try to negotiate strategically with each of those 5 buyer's agents then, or buyers. So that's something that we always try to keep in mind, and just try to negotiate wisely for you. Because ultimately, and I try to describe this or tell people this too, because I'm an open book when it comes to commission. So a lot of times, say I'm getting 3% commission, which keep in mind, I'm not getting that whole thing. My buyer or my listing broker gets a portion of that. I'll get taxed on it. Obviously, there's different costs when I'm paying for a professional photographer and paying for advertising, everything like that. But long story being short, say it's say it's an extra $10,000 that I'm able to negotiate for you. At 3%, what I'm getting there is an extra $300, which, yes, $300 is nothing to scoff at. I can, go out to several, dinners with my wife and kids, with an extra $300. But what makes me happy is to get you an extra $10,000 as a seller, because if I'm able to work that hard and get you an extra 10K while I'm only making an extra $300, you're still going to be, or the hope is that you're going to be so happy with the results that you'll always use me as your real estate agent, and you'll be shouting from the mountaintops to anybody who will listen, hey, if you want to buy or sell, make sure you use Caleb because he is going to negotiate wisely on your behalf. And the last one I put as a maybe, it's a pre-sale home inspection. So this could be the right move. Maybe it's not for you. It depends on your home. So how old is the home? What's the condition of the home? are you willing to spend, oops, and I have a typo in there. Are you willing to spend money to make any necessary corrections? And how's the housing market in general? Because basically, once you have a home inspection, you have to disclose what you know about the property. So if it's a pretty new house and you're not worried about anything major popping up in the home inspection, and you're willing to pay a home inspector, and you're willing to pay to correct any potential health or hazards, any issues like that, then yeah, maybe it makes sense. And maybe it's a buyer's market too, where buyers have more power. Sure, maybe it makes more sense to get a pre-sale home inspection to avoid or minimize the risk of having any issues come up when a buyer gets a home inspection. But maybe it's a home built in 1910 and houses weren't built the same, and certainly not to the same code that we have now as they were back then. So that home inspection report might be a huge list. Maybe you don't have any additional funds to spend on correcting these issues. So if a home inspector finds some major issues and you have to disclose it, but you're not willing to spend the money, well, that could come back and bite you in the long run. And then lastly, if it is a strong seller's market like it was in, let's say, the summer of 2021, a lot of the times buyers were waiving home inspections. I'm not saying that I agree with that because, as an agent, I want you to know what you're buying if I'm representing you as the buyer. But as the seller, that was fantastic because you're like, hey, I'm getting top dollar. They're not inspecting the house to renegotiate afterwards. So like this is, that's an ideal situation. So that's where you're going to want to talk with your real estate agent on if a pre-sale home inspection is actually worth it or not. So wrapping up here, ultimately selling your home for top dollar involves a blend of preparation, presentation, and well thought out sales strategy. Each step contributes to attracting the right buyers and maximizing the perceived value of your property. When it's time to sell, partnering with a knowledgeable realtor like myself can make a substantial difference, not to toot my own horn. And I am committed to leveraging my work ethic because I do think I can outwork almost anybody in the market. My area expertise, again, that's just with being a native Ohio resident for my 34 years here on Earth, but also just studying the areas, everything like that, and industry knowledge because I read real estate books nonstop. I listen to podcasts nonstop. That's both real estate related, that's mortgage related, that's finance related, everything like that. And I used to actually be in the remodeling business too. So I have rental properties. So there's a wide breadth of knowledge that I have to help you navigate the home selling process. And then also when you're selling, you're likely buying somewhere too. So I can help you with the home buying process just to ensure that you receive the best possible return on your investment. So if you have any questions, this right here is me. I primarily serve Northeast Ohio, basically all of Cleveland, but especially the west side suburbs, down through, I do all of Medina County. I do parts of Summit County, Lorain County, Wayne County, and Lake County as well. So if you have any questions and you live in Northeast Ohio, feel free, reach out. I would be happy to talk with you. Otherwise, have a great day.